Damn, that's good.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night, folks. It's your boy Logan, Cauldron of Thought here, and today I figured I'd be doing something a little different than what I usually do. Gonna do a little discussion slash analysis. I don't know the proper term for this, but today I'm going to be discussing an episode of the Netflix show Love, Death, and Robots, Jibaro. I probably should have looked up how to pronounce it before I started this. So, yeah, I'm going to be doing a quick little discussion about this episode. It really struck a chord with me, and I figured, I'll do a quick little video on it just to, kind of talk about it and just, let more people know about it. So, Love, Death, Robots is I guess I could say sci-fi, anthology series on Netflix. There's currently 3 seasons of it. The 3rd season just came out. In my opinion, the first season was really good. Second season was alright. It kind of fell off a little bit, but the 3rd season, the one that just came out, I've loved almost every single episode of it. I think the only ones I didn't like were the Very Heart of the Machine and the Rats one, but besides that, I thought it was a really good season. I like the variety in stories. A lot of them do have different animation styles as well, although quite a few have the same kind of realistic 3D animation, which I guess is the most common, but every once in a while I get one with a really cool, out there style, like this one, or The Witness. So this one was directed by Alberto Mielgo. He also directed the season 1 episode, The Witness, which I mentioned earlier. This very much does have the same animation style of that, although I would say it's a bit more held back, but I think it's more just because the story wouldn't have worked if he did the same exact style as The Witness. The Witness had a lot more, think of Spider-Verse style, where there's a lot of cartoon flashes here and there. I think that kind of worked with the sporadicness and just the craziness of The Witness. It was like a chase episode, so it was constantly going. But this one was much more laid back, it kind of focused more on the story and the scenery. But yeah, I haven't seen any of his other work, but I really did enjoy this one, so I am going to try and see if he has anything else, and I would recommend you do the same. So I guess this will just be a quick little run through of the events of the story. So it starts out with a group of knights, or I guess they'd be conquistadors, considering the rest of the story. And they come across basically a golden lady of the lake. She's basically supposed to be a siren. She works the same way, but I guess instead of seducing men, she kind of just skips the seducing part and just gets straight to the killing. So we follow one main knight. He's basically our main character. He's never given a name. Even in the description, he's just called the Deaf Knight. And as I just said, he's deaf. So there's a point in the story where I guess the leader of them, I don't know, he's this tiny little guy in a golden suit of armor instead of a silver suit. He's talking to, I think it's 2 or 3. I think it's 3 priests. And it seems like, I think he's trying to have them get rid of the Lady of the Lake so they can kind of safely cross it. She ends up coming up and she starts screaming and doing this she's like a Shakira type thing. And it's actually really beautiful to watch. Just this entire scene is very sporadic. Even in the sound design. The sound design in this episode is just immaculate. It constantly cuts back and forth between, the neighing of the horses and the clicking of their hooves and the rattling of the metal of the armor, and then it just cuts to a muffled sound as it's showing our main character, and it's showing how he's perceiving everything. The music too, the music always starts up when there's something big with this siren happening, and as she's doing her scream and her dance, there's just heavy tribal industrial music playing in the background, and all of the knights, you can see. Basically, it shows what her screaming and dancing, how it affects people. And all of the knights start losing their minds. They start running into the water. They're killing each other, and they're dancing almost like ballerinas almost. And, there's just music pounding in the background. And it's showing our knight, and he's he doesn't understand what's going on because, he can't hear anything. So he's just seeing all of his friends just run into this lake and killing themselves and each other. And just this entire scene is just gorgeous. It's very disorienting, but I do think it kind of just helps just this whole vibe of madness that's going on. So there's just minute and a half long sequence of basically all the knights killing each other, just drowning, and then it ends with the knight just kind of, the deaf knight, kind of just staring out at everything, and the siren is trying to scream at him, and she realizes, oh, this doesn't affect him. So she falls back into the water, And our knight, our main character, basically tries to run off with a horse, and he gets knocked off his horse and he gets knocked out. Eventually he does wake up, and I think he kills the horse, I'm not sure. It shows it like blocked between two trees, and it's wearing like this sash, and the next scene just has him holding the sash, walking around with it, so I'm assuming he killed the horse, but they never really say. He's kind of walking around the forest trying to find a way to get out, and eventually nighttime comes and he falls asleep. And during the nighttime, the siren comes up, kind of crawls up next to him. She starts like doing this weird like thing with her jewelry, excuse me, and she eventually just kind of sleeps next to him. And the lighting in the scene is very good too. He kind of did the same exact scene in The Witness, where it's basically a black room or like nighttime environment, and it's just this big light like right in the middle, and it just kind of feels very organic and real, like someone's just recording it on their phone with the flash on. And I kind of like the vibe it gives off. So it's the next morning, and the knight wakes up next to the woman. She gets scared and runs off, so he decides to follow her. She runs back into the water, and she's kind of swimming upstream, and he's following her on the land. And eventually she ends up at this waterfall, like at the top of this waterfall, and basically he tries to cross it to get to her, and eventually she comes over to him, and she kind of dances around him, and he starts grabbing at her because she's made out of, you know, gold. He grabs a piece of her, and she starts bleeding, but she doesn't really seem to notice, and they share a kiss. But he realizes that he starts bleeding from his mouth because her lips are actually they're like kind of coated with these, I don't know how to describe them, just encrusted lips, basically, so they're gonna cut him. They never really show any cuts, and I'm assuming it's because she has healing properties, so she just bleeds, and he feels it. I need to slow down here, I'm rambling. So he basically, like, tries to seduce her, and he, like, kisses her a couple times, like, on her face and on her neck, and then he headbutts her. And then the next scene is him just ripping, like, all of the jewelry off of her, throwing it into this huge this sash that he's gotten, and she kind of turns it into a bag, almost. And he throws her body back into the river. And he just walks off, and it kind of shows how the body slowly just kind of floats back to the main lake at the beginning, and all of this blood kind of just starts rushing forth from the basically like from the brush, and he kind of heals her, and it brings her back to life. And it cuts back again to our knight, and he's like trying to drink some water, and the water turns into blood. And he takes a sip of it, and then his hearing comes back. And of course, you know, it's the first time that he's like heard this much noise, and like once again the sound design is perfect. Like everything just starts rushing, like the water, the trees, the leaves, everything's just like pounding in his head, and he's like going insane. He's freaking out because he can't comprehend all of it. So he's kind of running around. He's abandoned the bag at this point, the bag of gold, and he's just running around the forest trying to like handle it. And eventually he runs back to the lake as well. And the woman sees him, and she basically does her siren call, and she kills him. But once again, this final scene is amazing because she's doing her scream, and she's trying to do her dance, but she's doing it in a very pained manner because, you know, like she's had all of these things ripped off her body, and she's in immense pain, and she feels heartbroken because the man betrayed her. He's now like trying to resist, and he does resist very well, actually. Compared to all the other people, he resists her call very well, but in the end he meets the same fate. And the music, once again, it's mostly just strings in this, but there's a slow crescendo just throughout the entire scene of this, accompanied with the screams and the strings, and it's just very gorgeous. And that's how it ends. So I touched a lot on the sound design in this one, but also the animation is very good too. It's very fluid in the way they move. It feels very organic and like almost mocapped. It's very pretty and very smooth the way everyone moves and acts. You could take almost any shot of this and just print it out and just put it on your wall. Like it's very gorgeous. I'm probably showing shots behind me right now, like so you can see. A lot of what's used for sound is a lot of metallic, you know, like pots, pans, chains. It reminds me very much of the clipping song Eaten Alive, just in pure sound design. It's very gorgeous and very grating. It does get under your skin after a while, which I think kind of adds to the overall vibe of it. So I guess for me the meaning was pretty easy to figure out. I think it's just kind of like a thing of how relationships work. Both of these people were in the end not good people. She was just killing people because that's how that's how what she was created to do. And, you know, the knight is just taking gold because that's what he's supposed to do. Like, he needs gold. And I think at the end, neither of them are right, and they end up in a worse spot than they started. So, as I said earlier, the episode is called Jibaro. And what this actually means is it's a Puerto Rican term meaning small farmer or hill person. or hill people. So, of course, the characters are obviously conquistadors, and they're accompanied by priests in the episode. And the actual term Jibaro was influenced by the Catholic Church. So, who did the Catholics take with them? Conquistadors. So, basically, that's where the term came from. That's why there's priests in there, most likely. And so, I guess it's kind of showing that he does become a person of the forest throughout the entirety of the story. You know, he's living for at least a few days. He's living in these hills, living in this forest, trying to learn everything that's in there and just how everything works there, I guess. But yeah, I really enjoyed this episode. I really just wanted to like voice my opinions on it and just kind of show some attention towards it, just to let people know, like, at least watch this. Like, it's only 20 minutes long. It doesn't take that much time to watch it, and it's just a very gorgeous just piece of art. Like, there's very few things that have just kind of stuck with me and moved me the way that this episode did, and I'm very glad that I got to watch it, and that just, I guess, that it was created and made, you know, and distributed on such a big platform as Netflix. I do know Netflix is getting kind of crappy with their policies and their payments, but pirate an account, steal your friend's password, I don't know, just please find a way to watch this episode. It's very good. It's a masterpiece. Also, if you get a chance, get Dr. Pepper Dark Berry. This is banging. It's like a blueberry pie if it was a soda, but in a good way. So yeah, this is my first video in, I think, a couple weeks. I'm gonna try and keep up this little schedule of a video every 2 weeks, hopefully. Your boy did get another job, making bank as a pizza boy. You know how it is. We out here. So yeah, I am gonna do my best to keep a decent schedule. As far as video subjects, I'm just gonna be making whatever I want now. This was gonna start out just being a music channel, but I don't really think I want to do that anymore. I'm just kind of gonna make whatever I want, whether it be skits, video game stuff, just anything. So yeah, if you are into that and you want to stick around, like, share, subscribe if you want. If you do subscribe, turn on the bell so you know when the cutest delivery boy, which is me, of course, uploads. And yeah, thank you for watching. I appreciate it, and that is it. See ya.